right, what is up everybody? Scott Brio back again with another video. Today I'm going to be doing a video on the Boss RSD-10. It's a really old, like late 80s, early 90s sampler delay box. And if you're not familiar, I've got another one here. This is the Boss RSD-10, which I will be doing a video on as well, but I will use this one for reference since the other one is hooked up. These are, well, now vintage delay boxes, and they have a bunch of different ones. They have phasers, they have reverbs, delays. I think there's a multi-effects one, but there's a whole bunch of different, vintage Boss effects units like this that are relatively cheap online. They are a little bit hard to find now, a little bit rare because they are vintage. They're great devices. A lot of the older stuff like this really had some magic in it. Same with, old school samplers, old school synthesizers. The technology that they had back then was a little bit more primitive, right? We're not talking like, sticks and stones, of course, but you can see the schematic layout on the top of these units, and they're relatively simple. I'm no mechanical or electrical engineer, but I can tell you that that's a relatively simple design, and it fits in these compact little boxes. You can put two of them end to end, so they're rack mount, which I'll probably end up doing somewhere here on my desk. So anyway, today I wanted to just record some sounds through the RSD-10. I'm going to be using my trusty S2400 sampler here by Isla Instruments, which is my favorite device I own at this point. It's really a true workhorse and has become the backbone for a lot of my sounds and sound design. So if you are interested in samplers, check that out. You can go to their website or whatever, just Google it. So I'm going to be making sounds in the S2400, feeding them into Ableton, out of Ableton from my audio interface, into the Boss RSD-10, and then back into Ableton. What that's going to do is it's going to let me use it as a hardware effect, send and return, and I can affect the sounds and record them in these long chunks of audio in Ableton. And then what you can do is you can take those later and you can chop them up, take little slivers to make percussions, or you can do longer build-ups and stuff. And while these units are only mono, they're not stereo, which is a little disappointing, but to be honest, the mono sounds great. And I've actually found that the more that you force yourself to use mono in a lot of your tracks in your productions, you get better mixes. And honestly, with how great these things sound, how organic and kind of visceral and weird they sound, it's really a win-win in my book. So before we get started, I wanted to remind you about my mixing and mastering service called Dance Diamond Mastering. If you make electronic music, or I do a bunch of indie rock, hip hop, funk, that sort of thing as well, you can send me your tunes and I will master them using my suite of plugins and hardware. I can get them to, nice commercial loudness, get them sounding great. I've got a lot of satisfied customers already, and I've got competitive prices. You can check out my website somewhere over here, and I'll link that in the description below. You've got 8 seconds to make your first impression, so let's make them count. All right, anyway, let's get to making some sounds in Ableton and S2400 with the Boss RSD-10. So here's the thing. I did do the wet mod. It's what's called the wet mod on the RSD-10. And what you have to do is you have to pull the whole RSD-10 apart and take out one tiny little capacitor. And what that does is taking out the capacitor lets you get just the wet signal, because the RSD-10, for whatever reason, came as full dry with a blendable wet signal, which, for how crazy and weird and unstable these things are, it's really a terrible design. So I highly recommend that you do the wet mod on your RSD-10, and I will link, I haven't created it yet, but I'm making a post on my website that I'll link to Mod Wiggler and a bunch of other stuff, showing you how to, step by step, take apart the RSD-10 and remove the little capacitor so that you can get the 100% wet signal out of it. Really makes a day and night difference. Also too, while we're talking about it, I wanted to just comment on how unstable these units are, especially the RSD-10. I can't speak for the other ones, but I've used the RPS-10 and the RSD-10. They're just wildly unpredictable. Both of them have what's called a keyboard input on the back of the units, and what that does is it takes incoming signal from a synthesizer, or in this case, I'm sending a signal back out through Ableton into the keyboard input, and what it lets you do do is it lets you track the pitch of the sampled sound, because it's a sampler delay, and it lets you affect the pitch of the signal as it's coming back out of the unit. And it creates some really wild results that you will hear. Things get really weird. They can get out of control really quickly, especially with the feedback, if you dial it all the way up. But that's what I love. You know, I love weird, wild, unpredictable, ghost in the machine, happy accident type boxes. And that's kind of what I have surrounded myself with here. So anyway, with that being said, let's finally make some sounds. So what do I have so far? I've got, all right, so I've got this bass sound in the S2400, and it's just a little, you know, 1 bar repeating pattern. But I'm gonna go ahead and play with the RPS-10 here, and we can see how it sounds. All right, so that was one sound. I'm gonna restart the unit so that I can clear the memory of it, and we'll do another sound. All right, so let's pick another sound here. What's this one? Okay, so we got a drum loop. We've got a really tight delay here. You can hear it just basically phasing. This one I love. It's the second to tightest delay, and it just has this really great classic phasey sound to it. So you can see how it gets out of hand really quickly. So you kind of have to constantly keep it at bay, right? Keep it tamed. And you know, to protect your ears, because sometimes that feedback can go wild. I'm gonna go back to the bass sound here, and I'm gonna switch into the sampler mode. So the first one is auto record play. Second one is manual record play, and then trigger play and gate play. And I'm still kind of figuring out what all of these do. I'm pretty sure the first one lets you just start recording as soon as you switch to it, and then you can adjust the pitch using the keyboard input on the back of it. And then trigger and gate play, trigger lets you trigger it using the keyboard input, as far as I know. So anyway, let's just hear how it sounds. All right, let's try a different sound here. Some are better than others. Oh, all right, let's try. hear it saving some of the previous sounds in the memory somewhere. Like it's getting lost and kind of locked in there. And then when I switch the delay amount to a lower amount, it throws the old sound back in there mixed up with them. But you can get some really wild results that way. Woo! Wild. Woo! Happy accidents, y'all. All right, that's a bit too wild at the end there. Let's keep going. Whew, love those feedback ringouts. Oh man. Wild. All right, let's keep going. do one more. And I can make multiple of these videos. Still kind of learning the unit, but it's pretty fun so far. So let's see here. That'll do. All right, so there you have it. That is the Boss RSD-10 in all its weird glory. There was some really cool sounds in there. You could hear that as I was messing with the knobs and switching through the different settings, it was regurgitating some of the old sounds that it had in memory and popping them back into the scheme of things on the output, which is very weird, but you can end up with some really, really cool, unique, once in a lifetime, literally, results. And if you're recording while you're going, you can take those and chop them up and put them into your sounds and whatever. So let's do another one of these videos. You know, I'll probably do the RPS-10 next, but you know, this thing is so weird that I might find some more cool sounds and I can record those and make another video and share them with you all. So thanks for watching. If you like what I'm doing here, please give me a like and a subscribe down below. It helps with the channel. Share it with your friends. That helps even more. You know, if you think someone that you know would like to see this old school delay effect in use, go ahead and send it to them. So anyway, I'm Scott Brio and I will see you all on the next one. Peace out.